Excuse number two that airlines use to justify why they don't take action on contrails. Contrail prediction models are inaccurate. So studies show that contrail prediction models are wrong about half the time. Why would we spend more fuel, time, and effort to avoid a contrail that was never going to be created in the first place? And what if we accidentally create a contrail when we redirect a flight because the models were wrong?
I'll start with the last, which is that accidentally creating a contrail because we redirected a flight is actually relatively unlikely. The regions of airspace we need to avoid, called ice supersaturated regions, these very cold and humid sections of airspace, only occur around 5% of airspace. And so moving into one randomly is quite unlikely. And actually, this is also why we don't have to target that many flights or that many portions of flights in order to avoid them. So we're looking at a very small number of targeted maneuvers to avoid contrails. If we're wrong half the time, that does indeed mean we would be avoiding ghosts of contrails half the time. The effort and penalty to do so is very minimal. More trials and more work will help likely improve those odds, but that seems like a very good trade-off to me at the moment, moving twice as much as we may want to. In reality, it also doesn't quite work like that, in that we're not equally confident in all our predictions, that each prediction effectively has a degree of uncertainty, and also how accurate that prediction is also depends on whether you're looking at whether it's perfect in that particular exact point in space and time, or whether, so for instance, we often might think there's a contrail going to form here, but it actually forms slightly adrift of that because our models aren't perfect. But the maneuvers we take are relatively large compared to that. And that means that even if our point-wise accuracy isn't very good, the kind of accuracy that we need to avoid contrails doesn't actually need to be as high as that. But in any case, that the size of the contrail problem means even if we have to make twice as many avoidance maneuvers to avoid a significant proportion of contrails, that's a very, very small price to pay for contrail avoidance. You don't have to beat the odds by very much in contrail avoidance to make the trade-offs worthwhile.